Hi everyone. So if you chose pile 2, group 2, card 2, this is your reading. I am Diana and you are at Witchcraft is Political. So if you did not choose a pile and directly came to this video, it's also okay for you to watch it if you feel drawn to watching it. The question which we have here today is, what do you need to know? And there are 3 piles. If you'd rather go and choose or pick one of the piles, just go to the description box below and there you'll find a link which will lead you to the introduction to this video series or allow you to pick a card. So you can go and do that, or you can just watch this video, do what you feel called to. This is about your intuition, and all my readings are here really to confirm your intuition. So if something does not resonate with you, just don't take it, because anyway these are general readings, these are group readings, but these readings are really meant to serve as a way to practice your intuition and bring faith to your intuition and confirm your intuition, what you already know but are looking for a confirmation. So anyway, let's get directly into the reading now. We have pile 2 or group 2, and let's see what card do we have here. What do you need to know? Knight of Wands. Interesting. So I'm getting here something about movement, passion, energetic, enthusiasm. But let's get a bit more information about what this is in context of. I'm going to use the Lightseers tarot deck here, and I'm going to do all the shuffling on camera. Ooh, we already have a card. Interesting. 9 of Pentacles in reverse. Should I take it? I feel I wasn't ready. Like I was still talking when the card came out. So let's shuffle again. Spirit guides, please guide us to the right cards. Universe, please guide us to the right cards. For group 2, what do they need to know? What does group 2 need to know? Oh, interesting. Sun. Beautiful. That's beautiful. What does group 2 need to know? What does group 2 need to know right now for their specific situation at this moment? What does group 2 need to know? I feel that you are gaining confidence in yourself and your creative abilities, your ability to lead and command. And if that's not happening for you right now, I think it's going to be happening soon. So take that as it resonates. Let's see, what do we have for group 2? Spirit guides. Okay. Page of Swords. The camera fluttered. Page of Swords. Interesting. Let's get a few more cards. This is a lot of light energy, lot of movement, lots of quick energy almost. Okay. 2 cards. 5 of Pentacles, 4 of Pentacles. Oh, interesting. 5 of Pentacles, 4 of Pentacles. Alright, so I feel that you guys might have been in not such a great place, maybe in the present or maybe in the recent past. Maybe you felt like a huge lack, a lack of abundance, a lack of meaning, or even just the feeling that you're not good enough. This could be in the context of a job or a career path or even a relationship, and not only romantic relationship but any kind of relationship, which basically your experience was a feeling of lack, a feeling of low self-esteem and just unworthiness, which kind of made you also retreat within yourself, or is currently making you retreat within yourself. So there's almost like lack of sharing. There's a lot of defensiveness, almost like you have built walls around you, and this is completely understandable when we are feeling like really vulnerable or really not good about ourselves. This is very, very natural to, it is very, very natural to want to protect yourself and protect yourself from outside world, protect yourself from everyone else. And one way of doing that is just kind of retreating within and building walls. I'm not saying it's the best way to deal with it, but it's one way to deal with it, and it's a valid way to deal with it, because from time to time we all need that. We need those walls sometimes to just hide behind and retreat. We don't need them all the time, but we do need them sometimes. And I mean, walls do serve a protective purpose as well, and that's kind of where you have been. I mean, this is the kind of going within which isn't necessarily about introspection, and I don't think it is about introspection in your case here right now, but it's more to do with just taking a break from the world, closing in, almost because of a sense of fear, not from a place of, okay, I must go within and figure out what's happening with me or why I'm experiencing the things I'm, but it's almost like this fear of not being good enough has caused you to, or had caused you to really, really just shut yourself off and become very protective about your resources, your position, your status, even become very protective about like holding on to these things, which gave you a certain kind of name or status in the world, and kind of like just allowed you to feel secure in a way, even though it was not necessarily real security, but it at least, like, it's a kind of like hoarding your resources security. So maybe you've been working a lot on saving money, and I mean, that's not a bad thing at all. Like, that's great. Like, if that makes you feel secure, that's great. All they're saying is just kind of to be aware, when a protective wall becomes a divisive wall, and it's very valid to build protective walls, but just be careful of how long you're building it or when it becomes a divisive wall. So yeah, there's that. Well, the weather is really going bizarre now. I hope you can still see the cards. Okay, the lighting is a bit off. Anyhow, so the good news you must know about is that all these feelings of inadequacy is something you are really leaving behind. You know, you are leaving behind and you're moving into a much more prosperous phase with, as we see with the sun, from Five of Pentacles to Sun. Sun is all about self-confidence, belief in yourself, almost like the opposite of Five of Pentacles, really. You see this person here lying in misery, but with the sun, the same person is, sparkling with joy. So you are coming into your own. And if this phase of feeling like just in the pits has been going on for quite a while, and you have gotten really tired of this feeling, I just am here to confirm that you are coming out of it. You are coming out of this phase. You are coming into a place of abundance. And this could even mean, financial abundance. I'm getting for instance, if you've been struggling with finances in the past time, you are now coming into financial abundance. You will get the job you're looking for, which pays you the right amount, or you will find that position which will bring in the money you need to sustain yourself. So if you've been worried about that, and if you've been feeling lack of on that part, and which is why you've been saving up, which is a great way to go. Good on you. Just know that these things are changing now, and things will get better. How will they get better? I feel it's something to do with your intellect, something to do with your communication skills. So if you can invest in your communication skills, it would help you a lot, actually. It's interesting, right? Like we talked about how you have in the past built up these walls to feel protected and almost like gone inside of yourself. To kind of just feel like, cut off social ties. Not ties, but just like cut on social gatherings, perhaps. Not going out so often. With the pandemic still on, it's not always possible, of course, still, but maybe you have retreated a bit more from your social circle. And what this is calling on you now is to really, Page of Swords, is to really go out there and talk to people, and not to kind of just rethink these walls you have built, because sometimes walls can sometimes give us the feeling of security, but at the same time they also cut us off from the world good things. It's one because walls cut us off from the world, right? So, and the world has both good things and bad things, and you may only want to cut out on the bad things, right, and not the good things. So that there is a call here for you to kind of move, to move with passion, to talk about your passion projects, to talk about things you're passionate about to a group of people, maybe even beyond your friend circle, to whom you have not like always known. Maybe there's even like a call here for just what they call it networking, right? I mean, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, networking doesn't need to be this like super transactional way of like extracting from people. And I mean, I don't like that word networking, but I mean, think of it essentially as a way of telling people what your passions are and what have been doing, or what you want to work on, like opening yourself up to people. And these kinds of conversations are actually gonna lead you somewhere good. It will open up opportunities for you, basically, going out and showing your real self to the world. It is going to open up many opportunities for you, and you're really being called to do that. It is what is going to allow you to leave this feeling of lack and the kind of fear which comes from that lack, right? Into actually focusing not so much on the fearful parts of you, but feeding energy into the more loving parts of you, the parts of you which have something new to offer to the world, something creative. And I feel like you're such a creative person. You have so much to offer. You really have so much to offer. But right now, a lot of you are being blocked by just negative self-talk, telling yourself that you are not good enough to do X, or you are not good enough to be in a certain position. But what the cards are really saying is that you are way better than you think you are. You're really hard on yourself, and you need to give yourself more credit for the things you do. And if you came here from pile 1, because the sun card came up in reverse in pile 1, I feel like there's also like a story here. So this is also in a way political, right? Because look, we live in these oppressive systems which feed us fear, I mean, think about capitalism, for instance, right? If people were not scared of losing their jobs and not having housing or shelter, people would not, not relent to working in oppressive conditions. Basically, this kind of, extractive economy, right? And capitalism kind of feeds this idea of fear in us, that only when you are scared that you can produce, that only when you are scared can anything productive happen. But that's so not true, because the best work happens not out of fear but out of love. Creativity stems through love, right? And fear allows a certain class of people to control. And I mean, I won't even like, I think it's even deeper than just the class struggle. I'm not denying that there's a class struggle, but I think it also works at another level when we internalize that fear, when we when that fear kind of becomes a part of ourselves at an individual level, right? So, I mean, we tell ourselves that if we don't do X by the time we are age Y, then we are not good enough, right? And then we use fear to kind of push ourselves to produce. But what does that fear produce? It only reproduces the oppressive system. So you may say that you need the fear to create, or you need that fear to create your writing, or I don't know, push through a deadline, whatever. But in fact, what all that fear creates is a reproduction of what there already is, like this oppressive cycle of fear upon which people are then paid and allowed to have validity in our society. And this is just fucking plain wrong. I mean, this is part of the oppressive politics, right? Now, if only our work was centered not around fear or not driven by fear, if our society was instead driven by love, and I mean love here in the most agape sense, the kind of unconditional love, a kind of spiritual love, in a way which respects the earth, right, and understands our position in it, and that is spiritual. So, I mean, if we were there, then we would look at what we need to create or what we should be creating in a very different way. And maybe sometimes we wouldn't create, and maybe that would be a good thing, because right now we are really drowning in excess of production and reproduction, right? Like, there's just too much, and that's part of the kind of exploitation we see today. Everyone is overworked, everyone is producing too much, the earth is exploited because there is too much production. So maybe it's okay to not always produce and not work, and productivity is overrated. It really is. Because you have intrinsic value, you have worth in yourself. You deserve to exist because you're already good enough since the day you were born. And this is not a joke. I mean, this is real, right? This is how the earth birthed us. So yeah, I mean, all this rant or all these messages, I would say, right, were just to kind of say that please don't get so caught up in the rat race and the ladder of success, which really in today's world is defined through oppressive systems and their politics of fear, that you forget your own inner light and every reason why you're here, and that you're already good enough, you're already great, without producing anything, without doing anything. Your existence is amazing. Your existence is miraculous. I mean, life is a miracle, right? how rare is life, and we are so blessed here to kind of experience it in a specific way on earth, right? And how do you know that you are caught up in the rat race? Here is a tip. Whenever you feel yourself acting out of fear, know that somewhere you have gotten too sucked into their story about scarcity, about the world being scarce, about you having to compete for the little which earth has to offer. But actually the earth has enough to offer. This is about consuming less, producing less, right? At one level. But it's also about you producing less in your life. And you producing less in your life doesn't mean that you lose value. You already have value even when you don't produce, and you already have enough value. This quantification of value, that is also part of capitalism. And I know it's easy to understand these things intellectually, but to live them in a practical way in your life is much more complex, and even I struggle with that. But I think today's message for you is to just be really mindful of what are the times where you are getting really caught up in the rat race and in the politics of fear, when you are taking your decisions and actions out of fear instead of something you really want. And to be mindful means to recognize that you have a choice. Howsoever hard that choice might be, howsoever tough that choice might be, you always have a choice to choose to give into politics of fear on the one hand, or on the other hand to reclaim yourself in a loving way and live your life and make your decisions from a place of love. So sometimes the picture each path leads might not look like what you have been told is the definition of success, but whose definition of success are you listening to, right? That's another thing to ask. And if someone else's definition of success does not make you internally happy, waiting every day to get out of bed and wanting to live life, then maybe you don't need to follow that definition of success. And I know that's easier said than done, because it's so hard, because we are bombarded by these messages day and night in our surroundings, but you can do it, and you're not alone. We are here for you as a community. We are also struggling with the same things, and we are also trying to create a more accountable politics, right? A material, spiritual politics, right? So make the right choice. What the right choice is something only you will know, but at least when you can be mindful that there is a choice, there is always a choice between fear and love, you can know where to go. All right. But in general, yeah, I mean, I get very good positive changes lie ahead for you right now. If you are feeling hopeless or really struggling with a financial situation, things are taking a turn for the better for you, for sure. Now let's get some Lenormand cards. I've been picking these cards today for everyone. Kind of still learning Lenormand, but let's see what comes up. Bear, bear, whip. And this also came up in the last reading in group 1. I feel there are connections between group 1 and group 2, and maybe some of you came here from group 1. Especially because I said in group 1, if this does not resonate with you, go pick another pile. Which I did not hear, interestingly. I don't know, I just wasn't called to. Spirit guides, please tell us what group 2 needs to know right now. What does group 2 need to know right now? What does group 2 need to know right now? No more cards are coming out, huh? Should we? Let's give it another shuffle. Ooh. Wow, that's too many cards. I'm not gonna take so many. Just need one more card, please. Spirit guides, please give us one more card. Okay, wow, book. I think this exact one also came up in pile 1. Oh my god, so many synchronicities. Wow, 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 wow. Bear, whip, and book. I feel like you have gone through a really, really tough time, or you are going through a really, really tough time on a personal level right now. And it's almost like there's so much negativity in the world, by which I mean just so much injustice and so much oppression, so much anger, so much hate, in the world, and you are looking at it and it's almost like you absorbed a lot of it, right? And you have absorbed all of these energies and information from around you, and when it's become so much, it's really hard for you to then remember your own story and remember an alternative. Remember that another world is possible, or remember that, not just remember, but also it's really hard to have faith that another world is possible. And you might be going through an adverse situation right now and telling yourself, because when we constantly get through news, media, people around in our life, like a lot of anger or hatred, because we are sensitive to other people's emotions, whether we acknowledge it or not. When we are constantly exposed to this without having a break and without kind of maintaining some boundaries, it's very easy to internalize these things and blame yourself and think that you're not good enough, because actually it's this world which is not good enough for you and you deserve a better world. And you are here on this earth in this time to contribute to making that better world. it's no accident and no mistake that you're here right now. But when, I mean, this is the struggle, right? When we are constantly bombarded with all this hatred around us, all this anger, all this grief, all these injuries, injustice, and oppression, we can easily internalize that and blame ourselves and forget that something better is possible. Instead of realizing that the world we live in doesn't deserve us and that we need to create that better world, we can instead say, or we are mistakenly led into saying that I'm not good enough for this world. But you are too good for this world. This world is not good enough for you. We need to create a better world. And that's what we are trying to do on this channel together by having these conversations. It can be a really small contribution like this. I mean, I know anything I do on this channel is not going to shatter the earth, right? Or, I don't know, overturn governments or anything like that. But I think it begins small, and I want to contribute what I can in this unfair world, and I like to create this space of conversation where we can hopefully do that. So I'd love to hear from you if you'd like to comment down below if this reading resonated with you, how it resonated with you, what you're going through, because these things are very personal. They are not just something out there in the political sphere or something like this, right? I mean, we experience this exhaustion and drain every day, and it's not enough to say that we are experiencing it. It is necessary to also know that you are not a bad person or you are not an inadequate person just because you are experiencing this like emotional and mental drain on you, or just because you are experiencing this negative self-talk. So with the book, they are really saying that there is a lot in your situation, in your life right now, which is still to be unveiled. It's still unfolding. Not all information is currently available to you. But, like the bear, you are very strong. So instead of directing, that strength and that energy to self-flagellation, basically engaging in that internal dialogue of not being good enough, maybe you could direct it into a different kind of internal dialogue. And even direct that energy into taking a break from the news or something. I mean, I don't know if you've been on social media a lot lately, but that's affecting you for sure. Not in a good way. Taking a break and noticing the little joys of life, the rain, a flower, taking walks in green areas, getting back to talking with friends and people who can remind you what is really important for you. Can remind you, one, what is really important for you, and second, they can remind you what is in your control and what is not, right? And that distinction is really important to make, because some things are in our control, some things are not in our control. And the only things which are in our control have really to do with ourselves, right? So just, I feel like being mindful that the walls you are creating are not always serving you, even though it seems like the easy thing to do in some way. Like, I wouldn't say easy, because I know I've been through depression for many years, and I know it's not easy, but it might seem the most obvious or instinctive thing to do, right? Like, it comes almost naturally to kind of shut yourself off from people. But I would encourage you, if even if it doesn't feel like you should be meeting people, or you don't feel ready to open up to people, open up to spirit, open up to some sort of spiritual practice here for you is in order. Maybe a meditative practice, which you can do every day, even for like 5 minutes. That's more than enough, you know, just like lying in bed and talking to the universe, talking to the universe, telling the universe about your grief, and listening to what the universe has to say back to you. How do you listen? You talk, and then the thoughts which come up in your head, which sound like they are from universe, you know, not your thoughts, right? That's your intuition speaking, right? And that's the universe speaking through your intuition. Anyway, maybe like we can discuss these techniques in another video, but if you leave me a comment, I'm more than happy to make a video like that, talking about how you can talk to the universe, what is the best way you can communicate with the universe. But yeah, let go of the walls and think more about boundaries, because walls block everything out, but boundaries let the good things in, right? And only block the not desired things. So I again want to really, really emphasize for you that you are very special. You are a very special soul. It's very clear in the cards. You are very creative. You have just been going through a tough time, and oh my God, look at the state of this world. This is so understandable, and I want to say you have been so brave. You have really been brave and kind of, you know, in just plodding through these tough times and making your way through a lot of the things you have been through in the past few months, even past couple of years. And you are made of tough stuff. You are made of tough stuff. And you are very, very creative. But please do remember that you're intelligent, and you are very, very intelligent. You know, you are very intelligent and you are very creative. But please remember that your worth, your value is not dependent upon what you can create. Your value already exists. Anything you create is on top of it. Okay? It's anything you create is part of your life force. It's not something which will calculate your worth in the world. Alright? It really is not. You are beautiful, you are amazing, you deserve the best world, and you are going to create it. Things are looking up, things will change, things are gonna change soon for you. I send you a big hug. Thank you for this. Thank you for giving me the chance to read for you, and thank you for your time if you watched this far. I wish you all the best, and take care. Leave me a sun emoji down below if you if this reading resonated with you. All right, sending you a big hug. Bye.